Hey everybody, Mark Hanna here, Hot Thunder again. Coming back to you with some upcoming previews of an Axis Empire revival. Let's just call it a revival. I'm going to revive my old game that I did a lot of work on when I first started these videos for Axis Empires. Did a solo playthrough of the TK campaign game using SK, and right here I'm showing you the situation in Russia in 1943 when I left off. So we're going to start that back again. Okay, so I'm looking forward to that. So that's revival. But the main point of this video is, yes, I've got another red pill video for the tribesmen of Axis Empires Board Game Geek Forum. And this is once again necessary because of some misconceptions and some bad opinions. Well, everybody's got an opinion about something, but these are bad opinions about AI and the use of AI. And they're antiquated ideas about AI, and they're really inaccurate. So, well, this is what happens when you have some tribal reasoning. You get into a mode where everybody congratulates themselves on making statements that aren't true, and then winds up with a groupthink mentality about something that is really simply designed to make someone who's not part of the tribe not look like they belong in the tribe. Not that they even realize that that person doesn't want to be part of the tribe in the first place. But getting past that, let's talk about what I mean here. So we've got AI, and we've got this notion that AI is something that well, let's let's look at the arguments here. I'll start the presentation over here. Let's change this view to slideshow mode. Here we go. All right. So, hopefully everybody can see this okay. So, when we have a discussion about something, whether it's AI or anything at all, what kind of trust, what kind of standards do we expect to have in a discussion? What's acceptable, what's not? So here's another dose here, you guys that are in the tribe. A couple of opinions that showed up last time I posted something in BGG about Axis Empires. I used AI to establish that the 1944 scenario had been around for 15 years. Even though somebody else had previously posted that it had never been around at all. That person didn't support their argument in any way other than by explicitly stating it, which happens a lot in forums. People don't really actually support their arguments. They simply state them. And then we're supposed to bend over and believe them. And then somebody else popped in. Oh, yeah, I agree. The first opinion was AI can't be trusted. Yeah, I suppose we're supposed to trust you instead. Is that right? We can't use AI. We can't do research, apparently. But if you do use AI, the person who agreed with this individual said, AI use isn't high quality. Only people who don't care about quality use AI. Which really sounds good, and I'm sure it pumps you up to think that your non-use of AI is higher quality than other people's use of it. And maybe these two statements were true 3 years ago when ChatGPT just first came out, or with any of the models that are out there. The only problem with these two objections is they're not about rules or consistency or mechanics. It doesn't take into account that AI has 122 billion market cap business to business. This was in 2024 alone. Consumers have a 92 billion market for AI. So you've got a lot of people spending a lot of money on something that can't be trusted, gentlemen. You've got a lot of money that's being spent by people on something that isn't high quality, gentlemen. So why am I supposed to believe you instead? But let's look at this objectively. Is it true that only silly rabbits trust AI? Is it only true that stupid donkeys don't care about quality if they use AI? Well, let's evaluate this. Let's try to do it in a fair way. I think that's reasonable. But we have to look at it from a logic and evidence-based standpoint. Does the use of AI disqualify an argument when discussing Axis empires? Is that what we're supposed to take on board? And with tribals confined to tribal reasoning, which isn't always logic or evidence based so much as emotional or groupthink based, this leads to people going down the garden path of tribal mentality, um, and new ways of thinking from the outside of the box are always superior to the tribal mindset that leads to a homostatic tribe that gets defeated by other people who are not in a tribal mode. Um, I'm not trying to be anthropological here with this argument, but if you're going to hang out and want to be well received on BGG, that's fine. But don't delude yourself that you guys actually know what you're talking about all the time. And most of the time, you probably won't, because you're not presenting any evidence-based arguments to refute somebody like me. And I'm going to make those statements on the basis of what I think is the way to pursue the truth, regardless of what the tribals think. And that means, in many cases, and it's been true all my life, that I don't wind up being part of the tribe. But the two key questions coming back to this debate is, one, if AI is fallible, does that invalidate any reasoning associated from AI or from the people using it in combination with AI? And if someone uses such a tool, does that mean they lack quality standards or any kind of standards? So I'm addressing this claim. It's going to address the reliability and quality accusations head on, return this discussion to where it belongs, which is logic, evidence-based, and with internal consistency. So we're going to shift this debate. The so-called AI cannot be trusted debate, the so-called arguments using AI are invalid conclusion that we're supposed to come from this. Using AI signals low standards, low quality. But let's look at this from a legitimate standpoint. So this video is not a defense of AI as an authority. We use AI as a tool, okay? Just like I use this pen as a tool, all right? The pen doesn't write the opinions, I write them. AI might provide data and suggestions and conclusions for me to evaluate, but it's not the authority. A person is always the authority, all right? If you spit in with an opinion that the scenario has never been tested, it's never been around, so it's never been play tested, and you don't have anything to support that, that doesn't make you an authority. It just makes you somebody with probably a really bad opinion. Same is going to be true for someone who asserts that AI doesn't have any quality. Using AI as poor quality thinking, poor quality production. I don't know where that attitude comes from, but it's certainly not based on what AI can do these days. Okay, and I don't even try to evidence that I'm one who can produce the highest quality of AI, but I can tell you that the quality and content of my videos that use AI is going to be more accurate based upon my own assessment of such. And it's certainly a lot better than sitting here believing what you just had to say about AI, using AI as a poor quality approach to doing things. It's a ridiculous statement because you don't support it. I'd like to see your support for that, if you actually have any. Okay. So it's not a defense of reasoning standards, but it is a defense that we have to use reasonable ways to find reliability in the use of AI. And let's take a look at some problems, and I've suffered these myself. AI can hallucinate. It can misstate rules. It can do that. In fact, it's not always very good at that. I have access to a rules-based tool that spits out about 80% of the rules accurately if you ask it a question. 10% it's doing some kind of interpretation based upon the rules itself. Another time it's actually using other rules from other games to make an interpretation. And maybe 5% of the time it hallucinates something that's absolutely not true about the game. So you have to be the quality agent. Humans aren't removed from the quality agency. So not trusting AI is implicit. You don't trust any tool anyway. You don't trust every single piece of data from the internet. You got to verify. Okay, that goes without saying. So to denigrate someone for using AI because you can't trust it um, is tribalist thinking, and it actually is crazy. It doesn't actually make sense. All right, AI lacks designer intent, and so you can't trust it. That's the reliability claim. It's true. AI can be wrong. You need to verify it. And AI should not replace primary sources yourself. If you want to read the actual articles, the actual paper, the actual rules, whatever, that's not going to be a good, you don't replace those things, but you also don't make stuff up just because it sounds good to the tribe. You don't do that either. Okay. So AI can be wrong, but it doesn't lead to the conclusion correctly that arguments using AI are invalid. Humans are equally fallible. Players equally misread rules. So fallibility does not equal illegitimacy. And that's the kind of argument that doesn't make any sense. Quoted rules determines validity, internal consistency, logical coherence, and willingness to be corrected. Okay, sure. If AI is wrong and I have not done a quality vetting of the AI information, then I need to be corrected, and I have to be corrected. Even AI is willing to be corrected if you actually use it correctly. Quality accusation here. All right. Only people unconcerned with quality use AI. I'm sorry, poor quality. You're going to get poor quality if you use AI. Right. Okay. Well, I think you're just signaling something here. You're just signaling that you think your quality is better because you don't use AI. But do you spell check? Do you use databases? Do you use search engines? Do you use anything else? The tools themselves don't determine standards, okay? And the actual impression that global use of AI is poor quality is another ridiculous statement, but it was said in a tribal sense in order to gin up support, make you feel part of the group, make the other person feel right about their other ridiculous accusation that AI can't be trusted. And totally just try to shut down an argument, not on the basis of actually using critical thinking, which tribal logic does not do, but simply just try to exclude somebody on that basis. It's not the best way to approach things, gents. It's just not. Okay. So the battlefield shifts. The focus is not shifted to the actual discussion that I brought up, but its focus is shifting to the AI legitimacy, and the rebuttal is not substantial. All you're doing is reframing the participation of the person. All right, so here's your red pill. AI must be verified, yes. AI is not an authority. Okay, arguments should be judged by logic and evidence. Standards do matter. Tools are secondary. Okay, so if your tool is only an opinion from the tribe to make yourself look good to the tribe, that's not high standard either. It's not high quality either. And in fact, it can't be trusted either. All right, so there you go. That pretty much ends this presentation. Let's move on to some other substantiation. I'm going to go back to my documents here. All right, you guys should be taking a bunch of red pills all the time. Every time you're hanging out in the forum trying to look good in the forum, you should be remembering to take a red pill. And the whole point is, I hope that you've watched this because you can't unlearn this. You will necessarily have to think about, am I acting just to look good to the tribe? And is that all I care about? Or do I care about accuracy and the truth? What do you care about? Okay. I'm not going to hang out with a bunch of people who don't care about accuracy and the truth, or make ridiculously illogical statements just to make sure they sound good to other people in the tribe. Not interested. Okay, so here's some more information that you should be aware of. The basic, one of the articles, if you really want to learn about AI, you need to be reading stuff like this online. Here's something from Search Engine Land. discussing assistive agent optimization and the idea that AI can't be trusted is analyzed in a lot more depth, and how the process of these things are going is happening here. If you guys want to be convincing me that you actually pay attention to AI, you're going to have to cite stuff like this. You have to come up with some substantive arguments when you're talking to me about it. All right, another one here. I just pulled this from TechCrunch. This is another thing I read regularly. Do you read this regularly? You guys, do you know anything about AI, or just like to spout off your opinions about it? You actually have to understand it and learn about it. Now, if you think AI can't be trusted, how is it these companies are starting to hit? I better move this. 10 million in recurring revenue almost immediately when they start up using such things, such tools. This TechCrunch is it's got good reputation. I've talked to other people who read AI, who are in charge of AI teams. Do you guys actually talk to people who are in the technology business, who are engineers, who run coding groups? Because I do. I actually talk to people in that industry. I don't just talk to other people in the tribe that, oh yeah, AI is not trustworthy. Oh yeah. AI can't make anything quality. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. No, you guys, do you actually look at this stuff? Okay, do you actually have some kind of background that substantiates your ideas? Because I don't think you do. And I'm sorry, but I don't think that makes for very good discussion. But this is symptomatic of anything that's going on in forums and forum logic. You have a bunch of people who jump in with a bunch of opinions, and then they chat about it, and then there's a bunch of rah, yeah, and then you toss down another gulp of your beer, and then you sit around and eat peanuts and talk more. I've seen this kind of behavior all my life, and it's pretty normal. I'm sure I've engaged in it a lot. I have fun with it too. But, you got to rise above the cream rises to the top, gentlemen. You can't sit around in the malt liquor down there and just assume that everything you're saying is accurate. It's not true. All right. That's all I have to say here. End of presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Please watch further if you're interested. I got other kinds of videos like this coming up. Get out of the forums and start looking at something else. I think the way of forums is going to start going the way of the dinosaur. It's just not a good way to get information anymore. You're going to be better off using AI to get your information, and the world's realizing it. So don't be left in the dust. See ya. Bye-bye.